So this is a story about a Stinson 108. It was owned by my uncle, Ronnie. Unfortunately, he just recently passed away. He always had a dream of having this airplane flying. It's got a ton of parts, so I'm trying to figure out whether I can make this work. This is a pretty long video, but I think you're going to enjoy all the parts hunting. Took a trip from Dallas all the way up to Carabasset Valley, Maine, to take a look at it.
Tell this story. This is Uncle Ronnie's house here, and if you go inside the garage by the house, that's where the airframe is we've been looking at. All right, here we are in Maine, and this is the Stinson 108-1. It's been sitting in the garage, and I'm just doing a little video here so we can kind of have a good idea just what we're getting ourselves into. Floorboards. The video quality is really crappy, but it's like 2 degrees up here today. Probably what we're most interested in is what the tail section looks like here. A little bit of surface corrosion on those lower longerons. Probably just get some still pictures of those. It's a vertical stab. It's been in this garage the entire time, so maybe that's a good thing. All the other parts are up in the maintenance hangar, maybe inside as well. All the wings and fairings and stuff. Here's the baggage compartment. And I'll walk around to the front because it did have a ground loop. But the front of the fuselage looks pretty good. I don't see any vent tubes. Anything. I mean, the frame appears to look alright, but not, obviously I don't know how to measure it or have a jig or anything to put it in. But that's how she started. Okay, we found 2 big binders of Stinson Plain Talk newsletters. Should be pretty cool to read through. You can see pretty thick, both of those. That's kind of cool. Miscellaneous old wiring, which is probably old junk, an extra Scott tail wheel, an extra tire. Looks like the D window upholstery. It goes up here in the D window. Rotating beacon. Oh, I love a rotating beacon. Some extra fairings and stuff there. Battery post, air intake there, which I think comes probably up here around by the window, by the leading edge, and that's that leading edge cover. Found the other one of these, however I don't know what that actually is. Maybe somebody can tell me. I know J3 parts, but I don't know Stinson parts. An aluminum box, got no idea what that is. Looks like some kind of belt crank. There's another wood leading edge piece, sort of like this one. It kind of tells me, since they're both there, maybe Ronnie had some extra Stinson parts. Another pedostatic thing, overhead light. That's the door frame inside. Looks like some door sills. Got a pitot tube there. There's keep saying pedostatic vacuum. What the hell am I thinking? It's 2 degrees up here and my brain is frozen. Just extra pieces here. I'm not sure what these 2 green. This one looks old and this one looks like new old stock or something. So maybe the top of a cowling or something. I don't know. So that's it for this box. Next, we got some instrument plumbing. An old speaker. Really not sure what the heck this thing is. I'm not even sure if it's an airplane part. Because Ronnie had so much household stuff too, but anyway, there's a oil temp, there's a primer, there is a pedostatic thing. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, I'm cold and I'm not thinking well. There's an air box. The air box has some damage to it. I found engine mounts, but every single one of them is busted. They're all broken. Those are probably the Franklin engine mounts, and then just miscellaneous cans of stuff, bits and pieces. There's an airspeed indicator there, but it's trashed. There's no needle or anything. I'm not going to use that anyway. One box of miscellaneous stuff. I got a leg fairing. Looks like a lift strut fairing. Spinner backer plate and spacers. Air vents and miscellaneous things. That's probably the landing light cover. Looks like some engine baffling. Seatbelt strap support. Not sure what this is. Probably like an aileron. Something that's pretty bent. And some miscellaneous stuff. I think one of the covers from the instrument panel and an intake. Next, we got some floorboards and some panels. The instrument panel. Not sure what went on here. It's obviously like a longeron that was all twisted and figure out where that came from. Got a manifold pressure tack. There's 7 pistons here, but they're all corroded to death, so they're probably not worth a thing. Some old radios. Anybody wants these things, they can have them. DG. Some kind of type of bigger part of a radio. Ton of inspection panels. Ton of pulleys. Ton of miscellaneous parts like oil pressure gauge, oil temperature, oil pressure, I guess. That's the next batch of stuff. It's obvious that Ronnie had bought extra parts from another 108, I think. I'm not exactly sure what this is. It kind of looks like a pant cuff, but it's not really long enough. It's all bent off. But this is, there's a primer and a throttle or something. But you can see how torn up this instrument panel is, so I must have bought another crashed airplane. Had some extra parts. I got some strut cover, some strut covers, fairings, whatever. More. This makes about, I think I got 5 or 6 brake actuators now. Another tail wheel. I call the other one a Scott. It's not Scott. It's both of them are Maul tail wheels. Some extra miscellaneous wiring. And over here there are 9 Franklin cylinders. Obviously one of them's pretty messed up right there, but of course they're just sitting in a garage, so you can see the barrels. They don't look good at all. They might not be worth a cent, but there is definitely 9 of them, 5 and 4. Just more stuff. This is the pilot side with the toe brakes. It looks like the first officer side, co-pilot side. It's got the same kind of brake pedals. There's an attachment there for the brake accumulator. I wondered if I can put brakes on this side. without changing out everything. Brakes to work, you gotta have this post here for the brake, which obviously this side doesn't have. But the good part is I found extra brake actuators, which you go up here, like this. But I'm going to need to have this piece here so that we can have brakes on this side. And so far today, I've gone through all these boxes and found all these miscellaneous parts that were over on all these shelves mixed with every other thing known in the world. So I think I've got that organized, but now time is to go up to the real maintenance shop up there where we've got all the rest of the parts, like wings, tail, cowlings, engine, things like that. To be honest with you, this is probably damn near my dream of a shop. Look at that, I got a garage on both sides, got like an office right in the middle. It's actually really beautiful. So this is the right wing. Brought it out in the sunroom. I thought it would film better out here, but maybe not. Anyway, you know, the bow, whatever, tip, looks nice and clean. You can kind of see the condition of the main spar. There's the attach point for the lift strut. You know, and so far it doesn't look too bad. There's the main attach point. It's dirty, but here's the rear spar. Okay, so that tells you what some of these parts were. So I found some extra parts and I didn't know what they were. That's the aileron bell crank. There's a push tube there, which I've got a bunch of extras, and I've got a bunch of extras of these too. So that's what that is, aileron bell crank. Okay, and that's what the big ass spring is for. Gotcha. All right, I'm learning parts about a Stinson. And then there's where the aileron goes. So overall, I mean, the wings don't look bad. It has had a history of ground loops. However, when I read through the logbooks, the wings were metallized at one point in like '63. These are obviously not metallized wings, I don't think. Now the ribs have holes in them, but if I'm not mistaken, when you fabric cover a Stinson, you rivet instead of rib stitch. So maybe that's what that is. There seems to be tape everywhere from a previous cover. So all in all, I think the wings look in pretty good shape. This is the right wing. I'm going to bring the left wing out here and film the same thing. So this is what I've got for the Stinson. I walked over the wings. I think I failed to video this one wing the same as I did the other, but it's in essentially the same shape, which I think is a good shape. So this is the cowling off of this airplane. The only thing that concerns me is this dent right here. However, you know, looking at the firewall of the fuselage, I can't see any damage in the frame itself. So I'm hoping that this is just cosmetic to the sheet metal. But there you go. So that's the boot cowl. I think I went over these parts. That's the aromatic prop that was on it, which I was kind of excited to see there was an aromatic prop until I noticed that the blades were obviously damaged, which means that's probably the prop that was on it when he ground looped it. I don't know whether that's worth anything or not. We got two fuel tanks. Got one fuel tank there, another fuel tank down there, and then miscellaneous. I think they're cushions for outside stuff, but I've got all the upholstery for the interior, the sidewalls, things like that. Over there are the two front seats, and in this front seat are the backs of the back seat and the bottoms of the back seat, which is good because, you know, we can use this for getting them recovered into something that I want. There's a number of D windows here, as well as a baggage door. There's 3 or 4 D windows there, so this must be parts of the other airplane that Ronnie bought. I figured out that these mufflers must not be anything we care about because they're from a 4-cylinder, so you know, who cares about that? This is the regular cowl in there, and it says Stinson Voyager on it. And what's interesting is I don't see as much damage on this cowl as I did on the boot cowl. So, might be, no, it's not a dent, that's a shadow. This is the bottom cowling. There. Bottom cowl. Right there. And then the rudder. Rudder looks in decent shape. Got a spinner. Old radio box, we don't really need that. Miscellaneous fuel lines. An extra control column. The rolling fuselage down there already has a control column in it, so this must be extra. The engine mount for the Franklin. However, I found a box of Franklin engine mounts, you know, that bolt to the engine. Cast aluminum, they were all broken, so I'm assuming in the accident it broke the engine loose in the mount. And that may have been what caused, you know, some of that damage. I don't know. I can't quite tell what that blue piece is. I think it's a piece of interior. There's a lot of leg strut covers and such. There's 2 windshields here. There are 3 wheel pants, 2 that originally came with the airplane, and this one, which I think is an extra. There is an extra door frame for the fuselage. Must be from a donor airplane, as well as that gear leg. There's some seat belts, an oil cooler, a box of miscellaneous junk. There's another piece of D window upholstery. There's 2 flaps back there. There's 2 doors, 2 control columns that obviously need some help. And there's a whole nother set of rudders, rudder pedals, which the rolling fuselage already has that. There is a headliner here too with all the support bars in it, which will be good because probably need to use that for redoing a whole bunch of extra fuel lines and such. Now this is the front cowling. It is dented right over here. What's it? Oh, there's a gear leg in there too. On the bottom too. I think that could be banged out though. Now what's interesting is both grills are on this one, but I found an extra grill downstairs, so again, more donor parts. This piece, oh, what is that? I don't know if that goes on the belly or something. I do have all the lift struts, 2 forward struts and 2 aft struts, so I'm happy to see all that. I got 2 elevators, 2 ailerons, and a horizontal stab, although it's missing the skin on that side, so I don't know what the story is there. Maybe that was some damage or corrosion or something, I'm not sure. And then this, I don't know if this is a Stinson or not. It's it looks to me like it's an elevator, and it's got a balance arm on it down there, but it doesn't fit this stabilizer, or what are I'm mixing my terms. The horizontal stabilizer or horizontal stabilizer. So I don't even know what that is. It doesn't fit the Coot. It doesn't fit the Stinson. So I don't know. So with the fuselage downstairs, the 2 wings, and all this stuff, this is everything I got for the Stinson. It took me an entire day to organize it and find everything. But I think we've got a complete airplane. Just wonder how much work it's going to take to make it fly. This is the Franklin for the Stinson. Take a look at that in a minute. Here's the Franklin. Obviously it doesn't look all that great sitting here. It's been open, right? So you can see like valves are rusty, you know. It's a 150. I think by the logs I saw it already been, the crank had already been cut 20. Cut by 20, so I'm not sure. Oh look, dead bugs. That's cool. Now what I've got is I've got a borescope. I'm going to go down in these spark plugs and take a look at the cylinders and see what they look like. Let's see what's on the bottom shelves. Looks like some rocker covers, some manifold, exhaust. Now there's 2 mufflers upstairs too, so we've got 2 mufflers, we got more exhausts, more valve covers. Throttle body or something. There's some junk down on the bottom there, including a piece of wood.